And good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, moms and dads, children of all ages. Welcome to Living on a Thin Line with Tony Vicich. I am Tony Vicich. We are your daily distraction from all the anger, anxiety, hoopla, and weirdness in the world today. We come to you on three platforms: uno, dos, tres, no cuatro, no cinco. We come to you on ComedySchoolsRadioNetwork.com, where you can simply listen, YouTube on Comedy Schools, and Facebook Live. Three different perspectives for the same point of view, actually for the same show. The show is built around three things, and the three things that it's built around are your questions and comments as we weave through our 20-minute or half-hour daily doings here. So feel free to question and comment on the aforementioned social media sites, and we will attempt to question or comment back. Sometimes, oftentimes, not always, but every once in a while, half the time, maybe 48 or 57% of the time, we have some personal knick-knack or doodad or curiosity or memento that we share with you and then weave a personal story around. And also, we recommend one artist or one piece of music based off our vast vinyl album and compact disc collection. It is December 20th, 2020, 2020. Sunday. We will be in Gilbert, Arizona, in just a couple hours at JP's Comedy Club, jpscomedyclub.com, 860 East Warner Road, Gilbert, Arizona, where we will be doing the Class Clowns Comedy Showcase, the longest running comedy showcase in the Valley of the Sun. This is the show that has seen people go all the way from their first show to national television. And it was kind of cool because this weekend at JP's, the headliner was Michael Longfellow. And Michael started out when he was a young teen with us with ComedySchools.com. He's now headlining the club where we currently house the workshop. So how cool is that? So it's kind of a full circle thing. So if you come out this afternoon, you may see people who in a couple of years, instead of see them on a Sunday afternoon, you see them on a Saturday night. And that is a great leap in the world of stand-up comics. I'm still a little worn out from, if you caught the podcast early in the week, I had a procedure Friday before last that went badly over last weekend. So last week at this time, we weren't on because I had just gotten home from, no, I hadn't even gotten home at this point from the emergency room. I don't know what to call it, the emergency room, ER, because it's not a room. It's several rooms. It's called the emergency ward, but ward sounds depressing. So we're pretty much now on a full road to recovery. But, the funny thing is I have never figured, there's two things I've never figured in life, and I'm now 65. And that is warm up and recovery. Warm up and recovery. I just have never factored them into almost anything that I do. When I was a young guy, I used to go to the gym all the time. I never warmed up. We just jumped right into it. And then I never gave any time for recovery. I'd be out and about immediately. Hello to Kevin Brown. Hello to Jerry Vicich. Slowly but surely, the Living on a Thin Line gang is beginning to gather here as we do on most days, 6 days a week at 2 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. And I just never figured that in, So with this, I didn't figure in that there'd be a recovery factor. I still think they ain't talking about me. Or they said some people have no complications at all. Some do. I figured I would be in the no complications category. I wasn't. And then it said it takes 2 weeks to 4 weeks to fully recover. I expected to be fully recovered by, the day I got out. And sometimes the doctors lie to you. Don't doctors lie to you? They go, you'll be up and about in a couple of days. Should take a couple of days. And it's always worse than that. And the reason they don't tell you, like the written literature will say 2 to 4 weeks to recover. But the people in the, the attending physician and the anesthesiologist and nurse, and all that, they go, oh, you should have no problems within a couple of days because they told us when you go through recovering from even the most minor procedure, none of us would ever go to the hospital again unless we had a bleeding head wound or a sucking chest wound. That's your word for the day, by the way, sucking chest wound. So if doctors were totally honest about what a recovery period from even the most minor procedure would be like for many people. We would not have any procedures done unless we would not go to the hospital at all unless we had a gushing head wound or a sucking chest wound. So that's your phrase. Actually, the entire phrase is your phrase for today. The entire phrase is gushing head wound, sucking chest wound. By the way, a sucking chest wound, that can't really be unsucked. I think that's actually, a lot of people think that the word "you suck" has some sort of sexual connotations. I think it came actually from the sucking chest wound, which means that you would die soon. To engage in oral intimacies does not bring on immediate death, but a sucking chest wound is a ominous portent for a very short timeline till you find out if your religious beliefs are true. Hey, like I said, it's going to be kind of a short show today, and you can tell why, because I'm just rambling like a gall darn fool, because I'm going to be out at Jim's place in just a couple hours, and I'm going to have to get ready for that. But I did want to come in and spend a few minutes with all of you guys and say, ha! So, ha! I guess Congress has okayed, or is pretty much going to okay some sort of stimulus bill. The big holdup on this bill was a Senator, Pat Toomey, who is leaving the Senate. He wanted to run in the Federal Reserve's ability to make emergency loans to small businesses. You know, when you hear things like the Republicans are the party of business, they are not the party of small business. They are not. You know, if somebody was a micro business, I would tell you the hoops I had to go through to just get pennies from any of these grants or programs is just insane. They go, small business is the lifeblood of America. Well, they keep sucking our blood out and giving it to large. And you know what? I got nothing against big box stores, big corporate companies, the Walmarts and Targets, you know, and Amazons of the world. I have nothing against them. You know, oftentimes those started with an idea in a guy's mind. I mean, old Sam Walton down there in Arkansas had this idea. He goes, well, you know, people had to travel sometimes a whole day just to go in and get stuff. They live in a rural community, to bring them a little rural kind of department store, no frills department store. That was Sam Walton's idea. Incredibly successful. His children, I'm not saying they're good people. I'm not saying they're bad people. I don't know these people. But they decided once NAFTA kicked in and there was so much free trade with China, and the goods were so inexpensive that they turned it basically into a giant Chinese retail house and became some of the richest people in the world. I got nothing against those people doing what they do. I like their business practices, or feel it's unfair competition of smaller businesses. And for that, but I got nothing against success. But when you tell me that the Republican Party is the party of small business, you are alone. Because, and we saw it clearly, plainly, strongly this week when a Republican senator who's leaving the Senate, he's leaving in January, Pat Toomey, held up the entire aid package in an attempt to rein in the Fed's ability to help out small business, because I don't want to just turn it into a slush fund for Democrats. Oh, time that both parties kind of look at what their favorite sons are, their favorite things, and ask themselves, going, are we really doing the country good by pushing for this? You know, Pat Toomey had been better served by looking at what the Republicans had put into the bill that was going to serve their constituency. You know, and most micro businesses, I'm a micro businessman, I'm a Democrat. A lot of micro businesses ran by Republicans, you know, yet they wanted to hold up the Fed's emergency ability to be able to make loans, etc. And that is why things get held up. It may not be, you know, they may not have voted on it yet. I've been out deep in the desert looking at property out in the desert. I'm going to head out there so far that when the big one hits, nobody even know where I am. So that's right. I'll be the only progressive out in a sea of hillbillies. Okay. Hey, a couple things moving forward. What are you laughing at? The producer's laughing.
Sounds like one of those old men.
I am one of those old men. My wife said I sound like one of those old men. That's a hard thing to wrap your mind around it. You're an old man, but I'm starting to get comfortable with it. What the hell? I mean, what choice do you have if you're an old man? I ain't never going to get old. You're going to get old. I'm going to live forever. You're not going to live forever. Okay? And Joe Rogan's an idiot. Those are three things to know in life. The three things in life for to know is that you are going to get old. You're not going to live forever. And Joe Rogan's an idiot. Okay. A couple things to tell you about tomorrow night. If you're in the greater Gilbert area and you'd like to check us out live in person, I'll be having a free intro of my stand-up comedy workshops at 7:30 p.m. No hard sale. Nothing for you to do except show up with an open mind. It's at 7:30 at JP's. Tuesday at 6 p.m. Tuesday at 6 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. I'm holding a free intro on Zoom. This would be a great gift to give yourself or someone else. Okay? A comedy workshop. Okay? And even if you're never going to do comedy, if you ever have to speak publicly at all, this is actually the workshop for you. I think that we are the best public speaking workshop in the country. Campaigning. And then, of course, I screw up a word. But one of the important things we tell you is it's okay if you screw up a word. We learned that from musicians. They go, if you screw up while you're playing a song, keep playing, don't stop. We combined things that we learned in method acting school with Lee Strasberg himself many years ago, what we learned from years of doing stand-up ourselves, directing, theater, and so many other components that we've all mixed together into a fabulous public speaking stew just for you. All right, I have no knick-knack or doodad today. I don't have one. I just don't have one. Okay? So I got music, and I might recommend a few songs here. And most of these songs, you know. But when I mention these three names, it's two guys and one guy and his band. Okay? When I mention them together, it really doesn't, you don't really think about how important these people were in the formation of the music that if you're watching this, you most likely have been listening to your entire life. So I got a CD box here called The Roots of Rock. And I don't know if you can see the pictures on there, but on there are one Charles, Chuck Berry, Buddy Holly, and Bill Haley. Okay? Now, they were not the only, you cannot talk about that era in music and not talk about Jerry Lee Lewis, and not talk about Little Richard and possibly Fats Domino, Eddie Cochran, etc. But this is a pretty good compilation of the roots of what later on became rock, acid rock, psychedelic rock, heavy metal, speed metal, all the permutations, folk rock of the music that became the soundtrack of our lives. So there's 3 CDs in this box. And it is Bill Haley and his Comets Drop In, Buddy Holly, All That Matters, and Chuck Berry, Let It Rock. And just let me read off to you a few of the titles here. So Bill Haley probably had the less number of hits of these 3, but the 3 that he had were big. They were big. And they were going to rock around the clock, Shake, Rattle, and Roll, and See You Later, Alligator. Now, Shake, Rattle, and Roll had been done by Big Joe Williams. But like many great songs of that era that were done by black artists, the white public did not really become aware of it until a white band did the song. So, and that's unfortunate. It's wrong, but at least by the song, we then did go back and discover who Joe Williams was. Those were the three songs that really cemented Bill Haley in the pantheon of rock and roll gods. We're going to Rock Around the Clock was considered one of the earliest beginning rock and roll songs. Some people say Rocket 88 by Ike Turner was the first rock and roll song, but I always thought of it as more of a boogie woogie rhythm and blues song. CD2, Buddy Holly, All That Matters. So let's read off some of these songs. That'll Be the Day, Peggy Sue, Oh Boy, Words of Love, Not Baby, Rave On, and Peggy Sue Got Married. Every one of them classics. Every one of them songs that young people getting together, still learn how to play their instruments with. Hold on, we're going to have a Ray break. If you want to bring them all the way into Facebook here. So we can't see him there. Get a picture. There's Ray, the Wonder Cat, ladies and gentlemen, and, of course, my occasional co-host, Sullivan Ramirez. who then promptly dropped the cat on my lap.
I dropped it on I dropped it on his lap, and then it fell down. And then while I was walking away,
Yeah,
he pushed me, and I almost fell down.
there was almost a big kerfuffle going on here with falling cats and grandsons. Let's go to the third CD, Chuck Berry's "Let It Rock." Okay, so this was a compilation of best of CDs. I don't know where I got this. I don't think I got it new. I got it in some secondhand record store, CD store, and I go, this would be so cool to have. Chuck Berry's "Let It Rock," Johnny B. Good, No Particular Place to Go, Maybelline, My Ding-a-Ling, Roll Over Beethoven, School Days, Back in the USA, Reelin' and Rockin', Too Much Monkey Business, and Let It Rock. So, of these three, not too many people redid Bill Haley songs. They didn't redo We're Gonna Rock Around the Clock, Shake, Rattle, and Roll, See You Later, Alligator, sillier stuff he did like Mambo Rock or Rudy's Rock. But dozens, hundreds of artists redid songs like That'll Be the Day, Peggy Sue Word. Now, Not Fade Away is probably the song that how I learned Buddy Holly existed. Buddy Holly died when I was a little kid. And by the time I'm listening to the radio in the early 60s and in the mid 60s, he's not a factor. He's dead. Some of its new stuff coming along. But a band from England, the second band of the British invasion, the Rolling Stones, did a version of Not Fade Away, which I always thought was an interesting and unusual song, but I'm a kid, and I kind of forgot it. It wasn't one of their huge hits. It wasn't like Satisfaction, Honky Tonk Women, Painted Black. I mean, when you think about like early Stones, before they kind of shifted into rock, when they were still kind of like doing British pop, but they were really doing blues music. It wasn't one of their bigger hits, but it became a staple at Grateful Dead shows for years. Jerry and the Boys took that song, and like every song they ever played, made it their own, and became one of my favorites. And only by reading an album cover from a Grateful Dead album that I see that, it was written by Buddy Holly. I had not realized that. It's So Easy. Of course, huge hit for Linda Ronstadt. Okay. Of these songs, the ones that probably got redone the most, Not Fade Away, which was odd because it wasn't one of his bigger hits, and It's So Easy. But all these other songs were done by other artists as well. And then we get to the man who, without whom there'd be no rock and roll at all, Chuck Berry. Johnny B. Good, done by everybody. To me, the ultimate version of Johnny B. Good besides Chuck Berry's is Johnny Winters. Johnny Winters did a blistering, incredibly powerful version of Johnny B. Good. No Particular Place to Go, popular tune. Not a lot of people redid it. Not a lot of people redid Maybelline. My Ding-a-Ling was a Chuck Berry hit. Well, after Chuck Berry's heyday, Chuck Berry went through a lot of trouble in his life. He either had a troubled life or he was a troublemaker. But I think it was in the late 60s, early 70s, he took a silly, goofy novelty song, My Ding-a-Ling, and turned it into a hit record. Johnny B. Good and Roll Over Beethoven were probably the two songs that made thousands of kids want to pick up a guitar. Fights did Maybelline. Who's Fights? Foghat. Jerry says Foghat. Yeah, Foghat did Maybelline. They did. But I'm going to say that of all the songs on here, We're Going to Rock Around the Clock, See You Later, Alligator, Shake, Rattle, and Roll, That'll Be the Day, Peggy Sue, Oh Boy, Words of Love, Not Fade Away, It's So Easy, Rave On, Johnny B. Good, No Particular Place to Go, Maybelline, My Ding-a-Ling, Roll Over Beethoven, School Day, Back in the USA, Reelin' and Rockin', Too Much Monkey Business, and Let It Rock. By the way, Back in the USA, great version of that by Linda Ronstadt as well. The two songs that not only helped make rock and roll popular, but made thousands of mostly boys, but then later on girls as well, want to pick up a guitar and be a rock and roll star, was Johnny B. Good and Roll Over Beethoven. Johnny B. Good and Roll Over Beethoven. Without those two songs.
Are those your songs?
Yeah. the soundtrack of America would be decidedly different today. Now, you can argue with me if you want. You can join in. Jerry pointed out Foghat. I was a big Foghat fan. I know Foghat became a punchline later on. They shouldn't be. They were a great blues-based boogie band out of England. A lot of them originally from Savoy Brown. It was a kick-ass band. So, but when you really get down to what was the turning point, what are the linchpins, am I good and roll over Beethoven? So, because if you really like it, go get your lover. Move on up and try for further. Reeling, rocking. Roll it over. So, roll over Beethoven and tell Tchaikovsky the news. That song was almost like a clarion call of a whole new generation. Saying roll over Beethoven and tell Tchaikovsky the news. There's a new type of music in town, partner. And now it's number one. You got to think what rock and roll did. Rock and roll totally kind of kicked standard pop music right in the keister and sent it down the road. Just as later on, the British invasion knocked doo-wop groups and the weakening of pop music that went on in the early 60s right down the road. Then rock itself kind of knocked out the kind of fun silliness that was still in mid-60s rock. 70s brought us folk rock, all going all the way up to the 90s when finally rap with Dr. Dre and Rick Rubin and those guys pushed rock and all forms of it from its place high up on the mantle of music. Okay, that's our show for the day, ladies and gentlemen. I want to thank you for listening. I want to thank you for watching. You know, like I say, this isn't just a podcast. This is a community. And people have asked me what this show is about. And I go, I can't really tell you. Sometimes I do some serious politics. Sometimes I just talk about music. Sometimes I have something goofy I talk about. Sometimes the whole show is just me engaging with people as they write questions and comments. But this is something I've always wanted to do. It's totally free form. Get to talk about what we want, talk about whatever pops into my head, talk about something that you bring up that all of a sudden sends me down a different track. And we try to do it for 30 minutes, 6 days a week, 2 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Tell your friends, tell your neighbors, tell your pals that there is a new sheriff in town in the world of podcasts, and it's called Living on a Thin Line. And it's easy to find if you just become friends with Tony Vicich on Facebook. That's it. I'm going to see you tomorrow at 2. That's what I'm going to do. You've been watching Living on a Thin Line. Bye-bye. She almost fall out of the chairs. What happened?
No, I'm just trying to do all this at the last minute.
And good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, moms and dads, children of all ages. Welcome to Living on a Thin Line with it. You are the one that makes me say, you are the one. You know, of these 3 guys, the only one who wrote all of his songs, all of them, was Chuck Berry.
Who wrote his own?
Yeah, I mean, Buddy Holly wrote a lot of his own songs. A lot of them, though, he wrote with his band. But all of Chuck Berry's songs written by Chuck right now, according to Keith Richards, he kind of ripped off his piano player. But, you know, Keith does a lot of drugs.
Hey, I was gonna get Stephanie's gift. So you want on Amazon? Do you want me to pay with? What's the ending of it so I can
Here,
assign
you just
it?
take this card. You just take this card, so you got it. So it's not. It doesn't have to become like a thing for you. Okay, so you're not feeling like you're under a gun or something. You know the budget. Don't go near it.
Probably will have that if anything. Especially because I think those.
I'm gonna ask
things are
Selma.
gonna
She's gonna
come.
lend her some Frank Sinatra records. Hey, you're a goddamn mess. Hey, it's your grandpa Ace. I have a question for you. Do you listen to records on a record player? Because I've got a whole bunch of Frank Sinatra albums. If you want me to lend you some. Yeah. Well, that was he's playing it with one of the great jazz players of all time, Count Basie. Count Basie and his orchestra. So I did some great stuff with Count Basie. But did you listen to Under My Skin? What'd you think of that one? Yeah, you're cutting out. I'm having a hard time hearing you. Text me, but I'll put together. I got about 20 Frank Sinatra albums. I'd be happy to lend some to you. You listen to them and get them back to me. I'll link you some more. All right. We love you, Selma. Bye.